It is Saturday night once again. This is the overnight mouse party. MD and Foss, and so far we have Gizzard Gary. How you doing, Gizzard?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. How are you? Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. We'll see if anybody else joins us. X Adam One was asking where's the Danger Zone music. That's probably an instant copyright strike. So I I always use the free music that uh, YouTube has that to avoid the copyright problems. Although in the future, because there's a library of free music in the YouTube studio that some of it you doesn't require attribution, so you don't have to say who made it and give anybody credit for it. But from what I've heard, um, at any time, pretty much the creators of the music can change their mind and say that they want attribution. So um, it could kind of bite you later on. But we've got G Webs, Gun Websites. How you doing?
You always ask me when I'm in the middle of changing my avatar. I'm doing fine. Thanks for hosting.
Uh, so I'll have to admit off the jump, as the kids would say, a little unprepared as I was going through to do my show prep. I got looking at reloading powders, and so I didn't do any show prep.
Now, real quick, just to address a comment from X Adam One, who asked, "Isn't copyright just so you won't get monetized?" I get those, and it says it's not a strike. Not necessarily. That can be part of it, but you can also have a video completely removed for copyright violation too, depending on the extent of the claim.
Yeah, there's two different types. There's a copyright claim and a copyright strike. The claim, just if you were to be monetized, the um, owner of the content will get part or all of any money you make on YouTube. And the strike is the more serious one, where YouTube is spanking you for doing it.
And I have had, because I used to produce videos on another channel that were music reactions, and those are real rife for getting copyright claims, copyright strikes, and some of them you would get claims saying that they would take all your monetization. Okay, you can play this, but you can't make any money off of it. And then you would get claims that says, okay, you can play this, but it's only allowed to be played in certain countries. And then I had some that says, you're not allowed to play this anywhere on YouTube. So it all depends. And you can appeal, and there's an appeal process, and a lot of channels are fighting it right now.
Yeah, that's happened for me in the past when we've done music brackets and I played clips of music. Um, there's ones where YouTube will say, "Well, you can't play this. We can process your video and remove that if you want." And I've done that. That way, I didn't have to take it down, edit it, and put it back up. And it was, I think it was all Beatles stuff. It's the only one I've had problems with. All the rest were claims where it says, normally you'll say the um, owner of the music allows it to be used. Uh, and usually when it's blocked, it'll be like Russia and sometimes like Southeast Asia. But that's why I don't play a lot of uh, commercial music, we'll call it.
That's why I don't sing on these shows, because I sing so accurately to the artist that it gets copyrighted. So I don't like to do it.
Now, a lot of the problem I've ran into with using the YouTube copyright free music is that it's only guaranteed to be copyright free on YouTube. And if you multi stream to other platforms, it may or may not be there. For example, I have had Facebook put copyright claims for stuff that was free on YouTube, but Facebook claimed it. So
That's
just
interesting. It's something I never thought of.
caveat emptor there.
I reloaded my first 30-06 today. So, and I'll have to say that necked cartridges are a pain in the ass, uh, mainly when you're sizing. Because when I do like 450 Bushmaster, it's straight walled. Oh, G Webs didn't want to talk about reloading. Um,
I don't know if I got a bad connection or what.
uh, so with the straight walled, you usually don't really have to worry about sizing up, length, and trimming. But with the necked cartridges, it'll stretch a little bit, but I can say I have done it now. So hopefully take them out Monday and shoot them. See if they blow up or not. Um, yeah. There's something else I was going to say, and I just forgot what I was going to say. Let me say hello to everybody that's out there so far. TJ Fishing was first. He's down on the other side of the world. Gizzard Gary. DJ Play Nice. X Adam 1. And Ozzy Osbourne. Mr. Bob Dabalina. And 2 Live Moo. Yes, Rip Boomer listens. I enjoyed your Boomer listens, Gary.
It's still there. It's no longer called Boomer Listens. I completely rebranded the channel, by the way.
Oh, really? I didn't
It
realize that.
is it
Oh, is
is
that
now
you?
Gizzard Gary Reacts. So
Why'd you have to rebrand it?
didn't have to, just chose to.
Oh,
I decided not to try to pretend to be somebody other than what I am, so it's easier just to go ahead and bring it into the fold. So I mean it was obviously me, so it may as well be me.
Do Re Mi Mi. Um,
That's correct.
so are you going to try to do it again in the
Uh,
future?
I'm gonna ease back into it a little bit. Yeah.
Ah. Oh,
Once this current fiasco, right now, so many, even some of the major React channels are having to deal with the copyright thing right now. I hope that resolves itself somehow. So, but it's basically fighting the big music production companies who want to copyright claim everything. So,
well, I will look forward to that. Um,
I may just do video reactions and just start doing reactions to your videos and stuff. That'd be cool.
well, are you sitting there looking bored? Is that, I don't think you'll
Gizzard
get very.
falls asleep. Boomer falls
It's
asleep as he gets to the channel.
can you believe this guy?
Just Gizzard in his recliner,
Pretty
sleeping.
much. And with a cat on my lap. Yeah.
Frowning a lot, looking like he smelled a fart a bunch of times.
Vulcan Rumble. Oh, there he is. Vulcan Rumble's out there. And it's 11 o'clock here, so East Coast.
It's 11:13 here.
So I think they have set their clocks already. But don't forget to set your clocks at 2 a.m. back an hour.
So do you have to keep doing it at 2 a.m.?
Is it always right after Halloween?
For how long? Usually, yeah.
Huh, I never paid attention.
Well, it didn't used to be. They changed it a few years ago.
Yeah.
Really?
I think, was it Bush? During Bush's?
I heard that
Used to.
Texas doesn't do it no more. This is the last time they're switching.
Well, Washington was going to do that also, but they were waiting for something federally that was supposed to happen that never happened. So they never.
They had to find out if Trump liked it or not. If he liked it, then they weren't going to do it. But if he didn't like it, then they were going to do it.
DJ wants to know: did I clear out all the pre-chat comments, or was that no? I didn't clear anything out. Sometimes I know
like
they will they will disappear.
Usually,
I've had that happen when I've made comments, but no, unless you made some horribly racist comments, I don't delete chats. Garage guys out there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. They pushed back when you change your clock during Bush. I think so. I saw we were talking about the flock system, the camera systems. There's been a couple more cases of mistaken identity. A lady was accused of stealing an Amazon package. And I forget what state this happened in, but
2007 Energy Policy Act of 2005 went into effect, which changed the new start date from March to November. It extended daylight savings by 4 weeks, it says. In 1986, it was extended to 8 months. In 1974, it was a temporary experiment with the year-round in response to the energy crisis. So they went year-round daylight savings time in 1974. Do you remember that, Gizzard?
Yeah, I remember it.
And then in 67, the Uniform Time Act established daylight savings, but the states could opt out. So it started when we were all young, 1976, or I mean 1967. And since 1916 to 1966, it was inconsistent, and some chose it and some didn't. It wasn't until 72, really, that I guess most of them took it. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So the cops showed up and told her, "Hey, we know you stole this package," and she said, "No, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about." And she had like dash cam and stuff. She goes, "I can show you where I've been." And the cop's like, "I don't care what you have. We have proof that it wasn't her. The flock system had made a mistake." And so I believe it got thrown out once she's able to show the judge. But it shows the problems with the system, where there's the cops were relying on the faulty information given by the flock system rather than investigating the evidence.
What's the difference between that and having somebody go, "Oh, I'm totally positive that person robbed the bank. I seen that person go in and out of the bank. I'm looking at the mugshot or, the picture you're showing me, and this is the person." And then they go grab the person, and then later on they're like, "Oh no, this person looks really similar, but it's not me." Is there a difference between an eyewitness and a camera being incorrect?
Well, yeah, because the camera didn't show her doing
No, I
what they
know, but I'm
said.
saying
If they
incorrect
had looked at the
eyewitness, though.
if they had looked at the camera footage, they would have saw it was not her. They didn't look at the camera footage. The cop just said, "We have camera footage. It's you," because the system said it's you.
Right, right. But I
Rather
mean,
than
you don't
looking
expect a cop on the
at
street to
they
have to
didn't look
go
at
look.
any pictures. They didn't ask the camera, "Is this her?"
All right.
The camera
When they
just
put the
flagged
warrant
her
out, you mean, and then the
mistakenly.
warrant, and then the cop did his job, but the cop is supposed to
The
double.
cop didn't do his job. Well, the cop did do his job
He did
because
his
his
job.
job
Is what
was
I'm
to
saying. His job
enforce
can't be
the
to
warrant.
have to check
But
all evidence
what I'm
before he picks
what
the
I'm
person up
saying
off the
is it
street.
should not have gotten that far because nobody looked at
Yeah,
the
okay, I
evidence.
agree with you. They have a wrong procedure or whatever, but
Yeah,
again,
that's what I'm saying.
this is like somebody walks into a police station and says, "I'm convinced, I'm 100% positive that so and so robbed a bank," and then they go out and grab so and so and say, "We robbed a bank based on evidence. We're taking you in." And then they go, "Oh, well, it turns out you look really close to the person who robbed the bank. Sorry about that." That's the difference, right? Like when they have to do something in order to figure out that there's an error. All I'm saying, it's not like I'm justifying it. I'm just saying, like, I understand that isn't perfect and it takes a minute or two to calibrate or to.
What? Yes. The problem is if they if rather than it was flagged said, "Hey, she did this." If when it flagged she did this, they look at the evidence then rather than
Right,
just
pick her up
saying
and
she
then.
did this, go get her. We don't, and then prove you're innocent. Well, no, you need to prove she's guilty.
Sure. So, like I say, and if that's understandable if they're figuring it out. If this is like the 17th time that it happened and they're insisting that first the thing triggers and then you pick the person up and then you follow through, then yeah, they got a bad procedure. But I'm not going to throw away the baby with the bathwater because they're figuring out a procedure at the same time they're figuring out what new technology is and they're figuring out that it's not perfect. It's sad for that lady, and if she sues them, that's why they have lawsuits and stuff. I'm not saying it's correct or that it's good to have
Well,
mis
why
mis.
don't they figure out the system first? I know they're
Well, I'm saying if no one
you
figured that
can't you
out, like,
have to
oh,
implement it before you can figure out where
figure
the
out that
problems
there's
are. But
problems, right?
rather than kicking somebody in the nuts first, look at the evidence to make sure you're not kicking the wrong person in the nuts.
Sure, but I'm just asking: is this the first lady to like? Is this the way that they figured out that they have a false positive, or is it they just decided, well, we might have a false positive, but let's act with violence first? Like, I doubt somebody made that decision. Is all I'm saying. Like, we're not
Um,
really sure, but let's go ahead and get her with full violence first. Like, let's go pick her up roughly. I don't think they did that. They just said, "What this?
well,
What was the
if
situation?
she
Like
had
they're
if
just
she
minding their business, and the robot goes, ding, 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 go pick up this lady. She's robbing a bank."
if
Or was
she
a bank
had
robbed, and they said,
they
"Hey,
went to her house, and
but
the
what
cop
prompted that? Was it like,
it
hey,
was
the
the
bank was
flux.
robbed, and we figured out who it was," or was it like, "Hey, police, humans, go pick up this lady, and we'll tell you why later"?
It was, um, it was probably since it was an Amazon package. Someone said my Amazon package was stolen.
Oh,
They looked at the Flux data, said it's her, and it wasn't her. She could prove it wasn't her. Um, they couldn't prove it was her. It was just an allegation by the computer.
well, normally I'm all for due process and everything, but if you're messing with Amazon packages, that's the ultimately horrible thing to do. So you're not allowed to do that in this country. Straight to jail.
Uh, so I'm not a fan of the Flock system. The more cameras, more surveillance.
What about
Like,
in
well,
Europe where they're making phones where if the police want to look at your phone, they can use their police override and see everything you've ever said to anybody on your phone?
what? Absolutely no.
They have an
What
AI
in
now.
it happens in the U.S. where it's um, if you have fingerprint, use your fingerprint to open or your face to open. There have been cases where the cop will grab your hand physically and open your phone to look at it
Nice.
or use your face. That's why I don't use biometrics. I mean, I'm not doing anything where they would need to, but if there's, something like this where it's a false accusation and the cops want to look at my shit without a warrant, um, they're going to have to get a warrant to do the passcode. Uh, and I saw in the, I guess the one of the departments is not, I forget which department it was, but they want to kill off 10% of the barred owls uh, because they're outperforming the spotted owl. I saw a Senate hearing on it. Which,
Talking about at the national level or in Washington?
yeah, no, national. I forget the name of the senator, but I just happened to kind of stumble across the YouTube video of him in Senate hearings talking about the barred owl and the department that wants to hire hunters to kill 10% of them because they're better predators than the spotted. They're not. The barred owls aren't killing the spotted owls. They're just doing a better job at being an owl than the spotted owl. So the spotted owl is struggling because of that. So they want to kill off barred owls um, so they don't compete as much with the spotted owls. I know. To me, it sounds stupid. But another thing I've seen kind of lately is driver license checkpoints seem to be kind of popping up around the country.
For sobriety or just to check if
Nope.
you got a driver's license?
To check if you have a valid driver's license. I'm not a fan of checkpoints. Sobriety checkpoints, drug checkpoints, and so I'm not a fan of this driver's license checkpoint thing. Woods is out there. He said spotted owls are dicks. I don't know because I know like down around you they have checkpoints set up, basically border checkpoint set farther up from the border is to catch anything they missed at the border.
Well, it's not like they're standing at the border. So the international border with Mexico is not the longest international border in the world, but it's not, it's significant. So it's they'll hang out on the roads or whatever, I guess, to look for just the like what's it called, like the blatant trafficking, like the idiots. But when you set up a thing permanently, you don't stop anybody who's doing it for a living. And a lot of it is show, like what's the word, like justify type of thing. Like, hey, look, we're here. Everybody knows it because if you drive up this road, you got to stop and talk to us. But they're ineffective because you put something up permanent and like say all the people that are doing it is living just know to move their route somewhere else. And I think it's got to kill the, what do you call it, motivation of the crew, of the enforcement officers, because they're just going to be, forced to interact with a bunch of people who don't feel like slowing down and stopping and talking to them. But you don't really talk to them, by the way. You just end up driving through. They have radar and some kind of x-rays or something. They know if there's like 1,000 people in your vehicle or not, and they only stop you if you're loaded with drugs or bad guys. So it's annoying and everything, and it's not a justification, but with the technology and everything, like they can tell probably just from the model of your vehicle what its normal weight would be, and you drive over scales and through x-rays and stuff. So if they look at that x-ray and you're 7 times the weight of a normal car your size and there's only 2 people sitting in it, then that helps them figure out who they're going to pull over and stuff. So I'm not justifying it, but it's not like they bother anybody like in the old days where it's like everybody had to stop and talk to them or interact with them or anything. They pretty much wave everybody through.
I've never gone through any type of check. Well, I guess
Really?
going across the border checkpoint kind of thing, but not
Even back in
like
the day when I first started driving around the country as a young in the 90s, I guess, 80s, I guess, maybe a little bit, there were checkpoints all over the place for fruit, like constantly go to different states and you'd have to stop for fruit. And
that.
got any
That's
fruit?
been
I used to hate that. Like, got any fruit? Like, you're going to go, oh, yeah, I got a bunch of oranges. Here you go. Because people did.
that's a big thing for Washington, where because of the apple crops, they're worried about the gypsy moths. Um, but I don't remember any checkpoints. I just know there was always signs all over the place not to transport.
And then they'll have them sometimes for boats. I've seen checkpoints for, like, if you got a boat you're pulling over and we're checking to see what all your snails and stuff you didn't wash off your boat, basically.
X Adam once said, "Don't drive." I'm guessing San Antonio to San Antonio, Texas. I get pulled over often enough. Over 5 times in the last couple of years, I was guilty of driving in the U.S. And Ozzy said Illinois has roadside safety checks, but they're always at the same time as the bars are closing.
Yeah, for a long time they would set up just roadblocks all around town. They would be different, but they'd be cops, just like you say, on New Year's or St. Patrick's Day, whenever people are drinking a lot, and they would just go up at like 5 p.m. to 11 or 12 or something, and they would stop everybody going down the street and make sure you're not blasted drunk.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I understand the reasoning, but I'm against stopping everybody to find that one possible drunk driver.
What about if there's a kidnapping and they're stopping everybody leaving the state, like in a movie?
I was actually thinking about that when I was um, writing up, making my notes on the checkpoint stuff. I haven't decided yet. I would tend to be more okay with that because they have, a specific target rather than just checking everybody. Can I see your papers? But I'm not. I haven't decided yet.
Do you think this whole like current, because this has happened before, but this current, like, if you're not a United States citizen with like proof or whatever, then we're got an issue with that. Do you think that is a, what do they call it, like a slippery slope, or maybe even an intentional move to have a longer game of, now we can have these checkpoints because now there's this justification that all these illegal people are running around and we have to find them, and the only way we can do it is and everybody bullshit.
On the face of it, I don't like it that way. If they have, a specific person, there is a court order, this person.
Well, you can always say that, though. That's the problem. As soon as you say, oh, as long as you're looking for somebody, then guess what? They're looking for somebody every day.
Well, as long as they're looking for specific people and not just who, stopping people randomly to see if they're citizens.
That's what I mean. They can go, here's a book of people that were most wanted. We're just stopping you to see if you're one of them. You know what I mean? Like, they've always got a group of, the government always has a list of people that they're looking for. Just the nature.
As long as it's a legitimate list that, like court ordered.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's always a wanted list, though. Like there's always fleeing felons. So if you're going to give them that, then they can just pick that
Well,
fleeing
not to
felon.
stop
Stop
everybody. I
everybody.
mean, just you see them, you stop them,
Oh,
not
I see
you
what you
stop
mean.
every car to see
Like,
if that's them.
yeah, you're a girl, whatever, and like a young girl, we're stopping you to see if the old man is with you. That's not okay. But if it's an old man, you can stop them and make sure you're not that old man.
Well, if they're reasonably,
Similar
uh,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we have that. We've always had it. It's just a matter of if they're. Well, I guess what I was going to ask that question of is, depending on if you think that this is all happening for a reason right now. Because I think the other side of that could be that I'm about to sneeze here. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to sneeze. Anything Trump did. If Trump said, I don't think ice should be blue, ice should be yellow from now on, like there's going to be people, and that's a bad example. Like if Trump said, I think everyone should have to pet puppies, let's say that, somebody's going to go, oh, Trump like puppies? Like, I hate puppies. I like kittens only. Like, puppies are horrible. Like, I can't handle puppies. Puppies are horrible because Trump likes them. Like, I wonder how much of it is Trump was like, hey, illegals are bad. We got to get rid of them because they're hurting the economy or whatever. And then the other side of it is like, what? Trump hates illegals. We love illegals. And I'm just wondering how much of this is influenced by Trump really cares about illegals being gone, or the other side just can't handle that Trump isn't wavering on that position. So they're going to grind that into the ground. And everything that ever happens that's close to totalitarianism or whatever, they can start blaming on, his actions towards illegals, even if it isn't his like main motivation. He's just doing it. They're gonna keep looking at it like it's the one thing he's only his whole motivation for life or whatever. And I'm just wondering how much of that narrative is being created versus how much of it is the narrative, or how much it's really
Well,
being.
there definitely is that, because any conservative is always called a Nazi and
Not always. It's new. It's
all
like
of
a
the.
recent thing here in the last, like the strategy. I think it's
Well,
five
it's
years maybe.
no, it goes back even like Bush. They called Bush a Nazi,
Not
and
on
then
national TV very often,
once
and not
once
in
they got to Trump,
which
they're
which
like,
Bush
"Oh,
are you
we
talking
missed
about?
Bush."
You're talking about the last Bush, the second Bush that
Yeah,
started wars and
the
shit.
second one. I forget which is Herbert Walker and which is, but the second Bush,
Yeah,
Bush number
his
two,
son.
HW's
electric.
father. Yeah.
What's the other one?
HW is the elder, and George Walker Bush is the
W.
second.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, those are different years, though. People weren't the same as they were now, and I don't know if it's they're the same, they just acted differently, or we literally just had different people back then. But I mean, a lot of people have died. A lot of people have been born since the Bushes, but it wasn't the same as now. As I guess I'm saying. If somebody was calling
Well,
Bush a Nazi, it
part
wasn't on like the CBS and evening news like it can be today. And it may be not CBS, but like the primetime news shows or whatever is where they would say it today. No way they were saying that in the 80s. Or if they did, it would be like, oh my gosh, this person said that on national news.
I think a part of it too is the um, social media, because
The social media is like the democratization of people's voices, or social media is like, I'm going to outdo the
well,
last person
it
by saying something more outrageous today.
it was any outrageous statement you heard through the news. Well, now it's just any outrageous statement anyone wants to
Period.
make at any time is available.
Yeah. So before they'd have to go, hey, we heard this on the news and we all know about it. But now it's like, hey, so and so in Georgia said this, and such in Alaska said this, and now we have to listen to everybody's opinion, or we have to be aware of everybody's.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's not a bad thing. It's just it's a growing pain. It's like a different situation, a different weird. A
yeah.
different world.
I'm not saying it should be limited, or I'm just saying that with the rise of social media, it just changed who you hear from. So anything, whether it's logical, reasonable, or insane, is out there, and
Right. Gets on the list.
everybody can say anything they want to say at any time, and everybody can hear it.
And we're still in a time when we look back, like the same way we're looking back at the Bush era now. And I can't even imagine how were we talking to each other with Bush 2. Not even, I can't even imagine. I can't remember Bush 1 very much because that would have been before Clinton. So
Yeah.
Bush 2 was after Clinton, before Obama, right?
Yeah.
And I can barely remember how we were talking. We didn't. Do we have cell phones then? We had cell phones, but we
There
did.
were
Did we
cell
even have texting and
phones.
shit? Like texting by itself was a massive like step, I guess, in
Well,
communication.
you were paying per text
Huh?
back then.
Well, but I mean
You,
well, first we were all just standing around looking at each other, and then there was newspapers and stuff, so we could all stand around. The whole country could talk about the same news article all of a sudden, instead of like, oh, remember that book that came out like 6 months ago? Like things got faster. So whenever cable TV and all that was starting to change, and we were all kind of getting used to like, oh, TV isn't the same as it used to be. Like we don't just have 3 TV stations anymore. Like things are changing. And then we had cell phones on the horizon, and then we were like, oh, not only can you just carry around a telephone, but now you can text each other. That innovation, that like era in communication or whatever, changed a lot because before that it was expensive to pick up a phone, talk to somebody, so expensive to own a cell phone, and people that owned them usually had a job or a business that paid for it or something. So when we got texting, that democratized the ability for us to just bullshit and chat with each other. Like it made the potential of the phones kind of was the first step in the potential of the phones. And I think that, and since that happened fast, it was faster and easier to do than the internet. It happened before the internet. We kind of all got connected with texting and kind of got familiar with this idea of like viral notions going around in a, what do you call that? Like a layer of society that wasn't the news, and it wasn't just talking to each other, because so something could sweep through. Anyway, we had that like era, and we all kind of were growing up through it or living through it. And then really fast, really competent, capable cell phones happened, and then 5 minutes later, the internet happened on them, and now the internet got faster, and we became what we are today. Like the internet really got part of our lives or whatever. But anyways, we've lived through. I guess what I'm saying is we've lived through a lot of different changes in this tech, and this is one of them. If we look backwards at how crude texting was, how far into the future do we got to go before we look back at today and go, oh my gosh, were we suckers? Like we were just susceptible to so many abuses because we didn't realize, the chaos that we were all trying to understand. And, 5 years from now, the robots will come in and help us understand the chaos, or we'll figure out how to understand robots better or something. You know what I mean? We'll just be at a different level, and we'll all look back at now and go, oh my gosh, were we stupid back then? And I think that's what we're living through now is like we're vulnerable to the changes in awareness, or like the changes in how fast we can communicate with each other. And there's people that are taking advantage of that for sure. I don't know if they've like, got some grand plan or anything, but they're
I
just
remember
take advantage of it right now.
this would have been the 70s because it was my dad. Basically, memes were faxed to each other because he had a couple pictures that were faxed to him that were
Like
what
cartoon,
today would be called a meme.
like a political cartoon or just a funny
Yeah.
drawing or something. Yeah. And what there wasn't Photoshop, but they call it Photoshop because you could go into a dark room and do stuff with pictures and still make essentially Photoshop stuff back in the old days, like weird pictures, Nixon shaking your hand type of shit.
Hang on. Let me get the banner going there at the bottom of the screen. Email address on tacticalfoss@gmail.com. You can send in pictures, comments within reason. And there's a link for the Discord server. A cool happening place to hang out. Also share pictures and memes, and you can get a hold of me there. And pretty much anybody else that comes on the chat, you can get a hold of them. If you watch this in replay, leave a comment. Whatever we talk about, agree with, disagree with. I read all the comments, and they are so much appreciated.
Is it true that
Uh,
everybody that uses the Discord gets a free hat?
uh, while supplies last. And pinned to the top of the link to the chat is a link for this week's poll. If you haven't voted in that poll, head over there, give it a vote. We'll take a look at it here in just a little bit, providing I don't forget. Uh, yeah, there were a couple court cases that I forgot to write down. They're 2A related. Now I don't remember what they were. Now, got them on the other computer. So, oh well. I guess we'll just go ahead and go look at the poll while I'm thinking about it. There it is. So this week's poll was: do you answer the door for solicitors? Yes, I like to see what they're selling. Yes, I crave human contact. No, I don't need whatever they're selling, or you've got 2 seconds to get off my property. 65% said no, I don't need whatever they're selling. 27% said you've got 2 seconds to get off my property. 5%, yes, I like to see what they're selling. And 2%, yes, I crave human contact. And let me refresh this, make sure we've got all the comments. And we'll sort it by newest. For some reason, the newest not all of them will show up if I don't do it that way. Tim Allen said, that is one of the wonderful things I love about where I live in South Central Missouri. Oh, I guess Missouri. We are so rural that we don't get any solicitors out here. New York Outcast. Sometimes I get fooled by them looking official, thinking that there's something else, but if they look like a salesman, we don't answer. A boomstick said, I have 3 of them right now in the pit down in my basement. Hampton 11, I'll look at the window, open the door 2 inches, and kindly say no thank you. Here in Texas, the majority know we're packing. Guns Barbecue said, of course. What are the odds that we are both serial killers? The goddamn bacon. Hey, you never know when that one trick-or-treater will show up with the fast casual dining gift card of a lifetime, or claim about your extended warranty. Life is a box of chocolates after all. Krabby Turtle. It's one of the few times I get to practice interacting with other humans. Sergeant Joe Smith. No one comes to my house. DJ Play Nice. I never used to mind much. In the last 15 years, it has been kids selling candy or reps selling internet cable service. Both were easy. No thank you, but good luck. Have a good day. Lost Souls. If you miss the sign, no solicitations at the door, then you probably missed the sign that said, if you're found here today, you will be found here tomorrow too, at the driveway. John Hildebrand. I have a sign posted telling you not to solicit. While it may not carry legal binding authority, you don't get to bitch, whine, or cry when I'm an unapologetic asshole to you for flipping me the bird and disrespecting my wishes on my private property. 2 Live Move, nope. Ring doorbell for the win. Woods, I tell them to kick rocks. X Adam 1, I'll answer, but tell them that I'm not interested. It's rude not to answer the door. Plus, I don't want them trying me again later that day. The look of disappointment on those Girl Scout faces is priceless. Yeah, I had somebody come to the door a couple days ago, and I usually don't answer the door. Once in a while I will. And I looked out the peephole and I saw him. I've got 2 signs that say no solicitors, one on the door and one above the doorbell. And I saw him read the one above the doorbell and then ring the doorbell. And it kind of annoyed me. So I answered the door, and he was selling carpet cleaning. And all I said was, I have got 2 signs, one here pointed at the sign, one there pointed at the other side. And I said, you ignored both of those. No solicitors. And he started giving me the spiel, and I said, I'm not interested. You ignored both my signs that say I don't want solicitors. And he kept giving me the spiel. I said, no, thank you. Have a good day. And he goes, well, it's door to door. I said, yes, I'm not interested. Well, how am I supposed to let you know about? Uh, I You don't, but it's door to door. I understand that. You ignored my signs. Have a good day. And then asked him, am I going to have to kick you off my property? He goes, no, I'm leaving. And as he's leaving, he's still giving me the spiel and then gives me the website as he's walking away. Um, I have to admit, I was annoyed. Part of me admired his persistence. He was somewhat polite. I do get guys that will get angry at me. Why are you getting angry at me? He ignored the signs and ignoring what I'm saying. But yeah, and then I closed the door, turned around, and my wife was standing there, annoyed at me for answering the door in the first place. And she's like, just don't answer the door. And that's when I realized I had been sitting at the computer working on some sleight of hand stuff, and I realized I still had the coin palmed in my hand. Through all the gesturing and stuff, I was able to keep it concealed. And I showed her, and she just rolled her eyes and walked away. But for the most part, yeah, I don't answer the door.
I don't agree that it's rude. It might have been rude in the olden days when there was less, just less stuff going on in the world. But there's other ways to contact people. There's more appropriate ways to contact people. And I would say in 2025, the only people that go around are people that are predatory, that are, exploiting that concept that people need some human interaction. Or I guess you could say like when a contractor or painter or somebody doing work is doing work in like on a block and they send somebody down the street to let them know, hey, we can do work for you. I mean, that's a little less predatory or whatever. Um, but anyway, I think that there's in 2025 with cell phones, before there was cell phones and before there was really even the ability for someone to economically make a bunch of phone calls, like when door-to-door salesmen were more of a thing back in the olden days. But nowadays, I think there's way more appropriate, way more effective, and way more, I think appropriate's the right word, ways to contact people than face-to-face interactions unplanned at their door. That's not polite to answer the door. That's rude of them to suggest that you got nothing else to do than just answer the door unannounced, without an appointment in the middle of the day to talk business. That's, I'm not going to say unacceptable, but it's just almost inappropriate at this point.
I just have a personal policy of I don't accept solicitors. I won't buy or uh, buy products or services from solicitors. If there's something I need, I'll go out and find it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with the concept. When I was a kid, in scouts, we would have to go sell stuff, and there's value to that. Like it is, what do you call it? Like enriching, or it like helps the person to understand things, to go around. I mean, have you ever had to go door to door? I think we've had this conversation before. Like,
I have done it. Um,
to
I actually sold
learn.
Christmas cards one time,
Yeah, so like
and
you
then
learn from it. I don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, that was a long time ago when, again, now there's other methods of doing that and that are probably more, well, definitely going to be better, like more efficient. They're going to be, they're going to produce better, but they're also just more safe and more comfortable and more appropriate for 2025. So teach a kid to online market rather than go door to door anymore. On the other hand, you can still send a kid to stand in front of a place and interact with people. That's a lot safer and a lot more appropriate. But I'm not the biggest fan of like being bombarded by little kids when you come out of a store. That's like their tactic, you know.
what about you, Gary?
Uh, do I like it?
Do you get a
No.
lot of people?
Nobody's going to walk up 3 stories and knock on doors.
9 times out of 10, if somebody knocks on a door, it's probably the local LDS missionaries wanting to save my soul and tell me about the Book of Mormon and stuff like that. Uh, or the Jehovah's Witnesses, take your pick. They all run the gamut around here.
Yeah, we definitely have
Uh,
that happen too here.
I don't get door to door salespeople ever. I have had people wanting me to sign petitions before, like different things going on around here and stuff like that, but
Well, that's a good
that's
point.
about it.
And I have had that go door to door before, a long time ago, but it has happened.
But
I
depending on the time of day, I may or may not answer. You know,
I'll never answer. It's just a security thing too. Like again, you didn't call me and make an appointment. I'm not coming to the door just because you decided to beckon me to my door. Like, nah.
I had a guy one time selling steaks out of a truck.
Oh yeah, that happens. That's what I was gonna
oh,
say. Like when the
Omaha
state,
steaks, yeah.
no, that
Well, it
yellow
was
truck,
like
Swanson's or something.
Kansas steaks, and so I told him I don't know. Point. I usually just point at the sign and say no solicitation. Oh, and he goes, "I'm not soliciting. Well, are you just here to tell me that my neighbors bought steaks?"
Well, that'll
Uh,
happen. The guy with the yellow truck, I think Swanson's, they'll deliver steaks to somebody, and then I don't know if they have like a second person that they send out, or if the guy just was bored, or if he's got like he's supposed to do it or something. But they don't do it so much anymore. But back in the day, if you seen them delivering to somebody on the street, more than likely they'd be knocking on your door to let them know, to let you know
or
that
the
hey, we deliver on this street. So if you want to put in an order, we'll be here next Thursday or whatever.
two different times when I lived in my old house, they would run this scam where they'd come to your door and knock, and they'd say, "Well, we're delivering steaks here in the neighborhood, and there's some people that aren't home, and we've got a bunch of steaks that
Oh
we
shit,
haven't sold, and we're wanting to sell those at a discount just so we can get them off the truck." And I'm like, "No, I don't think so. Thank you."
that's interesting. The one when I was a younger, when this one friend of mine's house, they would do the same thing. He lived on like a cul-de-sac, I think, and they would come down that cul-de-sac, and then he'd be like, "Oh, the steak guy's coming," but he looked forward to it because whenever the guy knocked on the door, he'd buy a box of popsicles off of him, and that guy that must be like a side scam in Arizona, of course. Like, hey, I'm going to be delivering meat. All you got to do is let people know that I got popsicles also, and I'm basically like a free ice cream truck every once in a while. Or it's not free, but like I'm an ice cream truck every once in a while.
Woods said I used to have kids come by, and I admired the one kid's moxie. It was an apartment. He'd ask, I'd cut it off. Uh, ask if I needed my garbage taken out. I'd let him
Oh,
pretty often.
Be careful because those kids will go through your garbage.
what?
Oh yeah, get your addresses and stuff like that off the mail you throw out.
I don't know about all that. I think they're probably just trying to be helpful. I mean, I don't got a problem with somebody who's just trying to be like available to people who are shut-ins or like having crisis or something. Like, I don't have to answer the door, but if you want to spend time doing that, like I get it. Like, go ahead and do it. I don't care. It's not going to bother me. But don't be, they're not upset when you don't open the door either. What about
Oh,
when
yeah.
you leave the little piece of paper in your door? I got a big issue with that because
Well, worse
they're
worse than
walking around
that.
trying to help a shut in, and that person is shut in, and they just put an indicator on their door that they're not opening their door. Like, I don't like that.
We'll get landscaping companies that they'll put. Um, they'll do one of two things: either just throw the flyer in your on your porch,
Yeah.
or put it in a little bag with a rock and throw it in your driveway.
Hmm. That was a long time ago. Nobody does that ever anymore.
Yeah, they still do it
Oh, I
around.
guess up there they probably have to because of the rain, huh?
Don't throw garbage in my yard.
Yeah. I'd wing a rock right back at them if they wing a rock at my driveway.
Well, it'll be kids. They'll send their kids around.
Oh,
I don't want to throw rocks at the kids.
no, that'd probably be bad. You'd probably get in trouble for that.
But what's it said? They're the Mormon kids, like 18 to 20-year-olds.
Yeah, there's I don't know what kind of church it is, but there's a church down the street that, they're in the white shirts and the bikes and that, and they'll go around.
Yeah, it's the Mormon kids.
And it's like, I don't remember, I've heard them, I've had it explained to me, but I don't remember. But, they have their missions, but then I think it's just also something that they do. So I don't really pay attention, but every so often you'll see like a group of old ladies, like just dressed like old ladies walking around.
Usually,
I live in an area with a lot of old people, so I'm guessing they're, like I say, it's more like they just want to make sure people in the world aren't on their own or something.
at least for around here, usually if it's two kids in white shirts, bicycle or not, that's usually LDS Church, the Mormon kids. If it's an older person with a younger person, that'll usually be Jehovah's Witnesses.
I know the Mormons will, like, that's their thing. Like for a year they do that, right? And like every single day they wake up and do that. But that's like a thing they do as a rite or whatever when they're young, right? Like they
Yeah, I
do that
think so. Yeah. They
and
have
they
to
go
serve a
somewhere
year as a missionary. Yeah.
and they go
Yeah,
somewhere,
their service.
go somewhere else than where they live. And that's all. I get that. But at the same time, they don't like throw rocks at you if you don't open the door. They just keep walking. So that's fine.
They're always polite.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a nice
super
thing.
nice.
I'll tell them no, thank you. It usually just right off the bat when I open, they'll ask, "Is there anything you need help with?" No, say no, thank you. It's all right. And they'll thank me and then be on their way.
I had a friend that did a gig where they taught him to. It was like a financial thing. They taught him everything you need to know to be the financial side of it. But then part of the gig is you go door to door, literally still door to door, talking to people and trying to figure out if you can help them with their financial stuff, like where they're at. Because obviously you can imagine if you're a financial person with all the knowledge of financial stuff, you can help someone who's rich, but you could also help someone who's not yet rich, to start some kind of a system of saving. So the goal was to have you walk around and meet a bunch of people, and then essentially, or eventually, I guess, get a group of customers by doing that. But then part of the plan was also that you were also going to see a big chunk of the culture that you would never see because you're knocking on people's doors and bugging them. And that's different than if you sit down and meet with a potential client who makes an appointment with you. So I think part of it was I don't know what to call that, character building, I guess, maybe, of, going around. And that's what I was saying when I was a kid and they made us do it. I used to hate it, but now I understand it because it's just, you've got a level of experience that very few other people have. If you've spent, I don't know, days and days walking around neighborhoods trying to get people to buy tickets to a pancake breakfast or buy your books or buy
Candy,
these or whatever. Yeah.
chocolate bars for Little League.
Yeah. And again, like your commitment to the Little League or whatever the organization is just at a different level once you've done that. And if you, like for scouts and stuff, we did stuff every year, multiple times a year. So if you were a scout for any amount of time, that means just part of it was one of the things you did was walked around a lot, unless you somehow got out of it, which nobody did more than once. Like you could get out of it if you were sick or something one year. But for the most part, if you were in the organization for any amount of time, and I'm sure it's the same way with the church groups and stuff, like they know by, if somebody says I've been doing this for 8 years, then that also means they've been walking around neighborhoods for 8 years. And you're just going to have a different awareness of your neighbors and in the world and the humanity, right? And you're going to understand your neighborhood. Like if you walk your neighborhood versus just drive home every day, like you're going to be intimately familiar with your neighborhood. Now imagine if you stopped at every house and knocked on the door, you're going to have just a completely more, I guess, intimate or like understanding of your neighborhood, right? Like of your neighbors. Then, I mean, nobody has that kind of, maybe the mailman has that kind of understanding of the neighborhood. So it's just it's just an interesting experience. I don't know if it's something you're going to profit from or like get something out of, but you certainly have a perspective that few people have.
When my son was in Little League and they would sell the chocolate bars, I would just buy the whole box.
Hmm.
I would keep the bars with almonds and the ones with Rice Krispies, and then give away the rest.
Now, if I had a kid to make them, or to, and something like that came up, I get the being on that end of it, so I'd make them go do it because that's, like I say, that's the character building side of it. You make some money or you learn, you fund whatever it is, but the going around and meeting people, I could see doing that. I've always thought it was sad that the Girl Scouts always would just sit there at the store, and that's a different experience because now people are either pissed at you for getting in their way, or they pity you. Like, oh, poor kid has to sit here. Let me give him some money out of pity, and that's just different than like when you'd walk up and knock on some people's doors. They'd be like, "Oh, you guys are doing it again, awesome!" Or like, just the range of experience was different because you were kind of catching people, like I say, off guard or like when they didn't anticipate it.
Well, during COVID, the Girl Scout cookie manufacturers were selling directly to stores, so they cut out the Girl Scouts completely for a while.
Yeah. Well, again, I think everybody, and they're entitled to. There's no law that says you have to do anything one way or the other. But I'm sure a lot of people don't value the kids' experience in that whole thing. They just see it as the fundraising section of it, and like, oh, this is a fun way to, an interesting way to fundraise or a traditional way to fundraise. Let's just get the fundraising accomplished. But again, making the kids go out and sell them is entrepreneurial, capitalistic, and community building. There's like, there's a lot of aspects to that. And then it's just a personal growth of an individual. That's just another challenge that a kid's going to do who's in an organization versus some kid who just sits around, playing video games all day, who doesn't get that kind of experience. And then can you imagine like there's 30 kids in a troop or 30 kids in a church group or whatever it is, and some of them are going to perform a lot more than the others, and some of them are going to hate it, and some of them are going to love it, and they all experience all that. Like that was all part of it. Not that it's necessary; it's just that it was a factor back in the day. I don't know if it's still going to be, like I said, for lots of reasons. I don't know if they'll still be doing
that. Gary?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to do a bracket?
We can. We certainly can.
Let's get it on!
So, I thought for this bracket, let me find where I've got the pictures. There it is. We do classic Mopars.
Well, I was for certain it was going to be Halloween candy.
Everybody does Halloween candies. Classic Mopars. And I will have to say, there's going to be a lot from 1968 because I like the 68 Mopars.
Is Mopar only Dodge?
A Dodge, Plymouth, and Chrysler.
Okay. They're like the Chevy GMC Cadillac? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So let me move that picture. There we go. So we've got the 68 Dodge Charger. This one's an RT. It's mainly going on the looks, the body shape. If you want, you can factor in like motors like 440, 426, but I'm thinking mainly of just the body lines. And I like the 68 because the side marker lights are round. 69, they're rectangular and they're lower. But I'm a fan of the round side marker lights. But 68 Dodge Charger.
What's the idea of the red sidewall? What red?
Is that a red lines?
Yeah, I don't like that.
That was the fashion.
Oh.
68 Dodge Dart GTS.
There's no way I'm going to remember these.
So that it had the big block. I had a 69. I had a 68 for parts, but I had a 69 just Dodge Dart, not the GTS. But, 68 Plymouth GTX.
It looks like a Chevy.
I had a Satellite, which is the base model of this. A 68 Satellite, which I loved that car. Say this is the color that I had. 69 Plymouth Roadrunner, which is the it's basically the GTX, but the stripped down model. The GTX was more luxury. The Roadrunner was just all about being light and powerful. But they're both built on the Belvedere platform. 1970 Cuda. 1970 Chrysler 300 Hurst. So it's a 440 motor and all the luxury.
Which one?
71.
What was their Chevrolet? I mean, what was their Cadillac?
Probably would have been like the 300.
Oh, they didn't have a brand that was like their Cadillac?
Oh, Plymouth? Chrysler? It wasn't Dodge. Dodge was more
Dodge
just
was like the Chevy, and then
yeah.
okay.
I was not a Duster, but a Demon, which is the same.
This is a drawing, or is this isn't a picture?
Yeah, it's really hard to find good shots that show the body lines well. So this is the best picture that I could come up with in the Plum Crazy. But I was supposed to buy a Dodge Demon, which is kind of the same thing. But I made a deal with the guy, went back to buy it the next day, and he had sold it to somebody else. But luckily, I didn't buy it because on the way to go pay him, I saw it sitting on the side of the road. So apparently, it had broken down on whoever bought it. But the 97 Plymouth Prowler, which kind of cool cars, but they only had V6s, which I think everybody kind of was the big letdown. But you could only really fit a V6 in it.
It was going to flip over, so if they put a bigger engine in, people would be flipping over.
But the V6 was like 220 horsepower, so it wasn't terrible. 1962 Super Fury. The reason I picked this one is it could be considered the first muscle car. This had the 413 wedge. The GTO is usually considered the first muscle car. The Super Fury there was only like 200 and maybe 300 made, and they were meant for racing. The GTO, there were thousands of them made and sold to the public. That's why the GTO probably should be considered the first muscle car. But the Fury could be considered the first muscle car. 65 Barracuda. I had a friend that had one. He bought it. Somebody had put a 360 in it because they would drag race it. And in the A bodies, the driver's side exhaust manifold was angled upwards so it would clear the steering. But whoever put the 360 in it put the B body exhaust in it, which was straight. And I was driving it, and I was making a right-hand turn, and floored it so I could, spin the tires. And when the motor racked, it hit the steering and locked the steering. So I was kind of going right into the ditch. Luckily, I instantly let off the gas, which was able to straighten out, but a little bit scary. The 1968 Super Bee, that's built off the Coronet. (1970) Dodge Challenger.
Is that what Pink has?
What?
Is that what Pink has?
I don't know. They're not quite as cool as the Cudas. I don't think. These are the E bodies. 1970 Superbird. These were developed for Daytona racing. The reason they had the big wing is in order to have a spoiler, they figured out because of the aerodynamics, the spoiler would have to be like 3 feet long back. So they went with a wing design.
And that's just
that's
push
what
the wheels down.
Yeah, that's what Richard Petty drove the Superbird. The 1979 Little Red Express pickup truck. '92 Dodge Viper. And in order to be classic, it's 20 years old. So this is more than 20 years old. And the 1967 Plymouth Belvedere GTX. And the reason there's two GTXs, this is a different body style. This is the 67 had the squared, which I like the look of these, kind of squared off. And well, I guess that's the last one. Are there any questions?
Yeah, good
And
luck.
no, Gizzard, not the PT Cruiser would not be on this list. So let me bring up.
You used to have a PT Cruiser or something?
Whoa.
No, just out in the chat. Gary said no PT Cruiser.
I know a lot of people that had them, but they were pretty much junk. But
I didn't see it.
So that's our 16. Let me get.
Last thing I see is the 18 minutes ago Woods saying like 1820. Is that the last?
The last comment is X Adam 1 saying too much horsepower for this bracket.
Weird. I'm gonna refresh.
Well, he refreshed himself right out of the chat. So we'll give him a minute before we get started. There we go. All right, you're back. Did it catch you up on the comments?
Oh. No, I'm way at the beginning. I was trying to figure out what mic I'm on. Now Gizzard saying LOL.
Yeah, you're caught up. Wood said he doesn't feel strongly about any of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to identify any of these if you showed them to me again, I don't think.
I am a huge Mopar fan. So. Well, eventually we'll do.
I just don't know anything about any of them. And as you were showing me those, I don't think I've known anybody that owns a Dodge, I guess. Like everybody I know, family and everything's always owned Chevy or Fords. I don't think
Eventually, we will go through Ford and Chevy, um, but I started with Mopar because I like Mopars. I've had I had 68, the Belvedere 60 satellite, not Belvedere satellite. I had 69 Dodge Dart. Had a 78. I don't know what the hell was it? Because I had two of them. I had a 78 and I had an 80, which I gave away the 80 to somebody.
have
Uh,
you owned anything besides these? Was you ever owned
yeah,
a
had
Ford,
a
Chevy, or a Ford?
shit ton of cars.
Okay.
Um, nope. Hey, finally.
You know, I
Good
don't,
evening.
yeah, maybe he knows what they are. I'm gonna need to know, like, are they in any movies or anything?
Yeah. So we're getting into the bracket.
Ooh,
Um, it's
Somebody chose that
Mopars.
just for the easy part, just for the bracket.
I'll go
that's what I
through
get
'em-
paid for.
I'll go through the names really quick for you.
Okay.
Um, 68 Dodge Charger, 68 Dodge Dart GTS, 68 Plymouth GTX, 69 Roadrunner, 70 Plymouth Cuda, 70 Chrysler 300 Hurst, 71 Dodge Duster, 97 Plymouth Prowler, 62 Super Fury, Chrysler Super Fury, um, 65 Barracuda, 68 Dodge Super B, 1970 Dodge Challenger, 1970 Superbird, 79 Dodge Little Red Express, 92 Dodge Viper, and the 67 Plymouth GTX. It's a more squared off body style than the 68.
Do you know what all those cars are by him saying that? Barbecue?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because otherwise I would be useless on this panel.
Any questions? Barbecue?
I woke up for a Mopar list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, you did.
Let's say, yeah. So East Coast time zone setback messed me up.
Ah, well, you're here now, and that's what counts. So let me shuffle these.
I feel like if you people can't get your clocks right, then maybe you shouldn't be moving your clocks around.
You shouldn't.
All right. Our first matchup is the 68 Dodge Charger against the 92 Dodge Viper. Barbecue.
Wow. Just which one I prefer. No special.
I was thinking more kind of body styles, but you can throw in
Okay.
you like the engine or
Wow, that's even tougher, I think. I'm gonna have to go with the Viper on this one.
Viper. G-Webs.
The old one. I don't want the fake Corvette.
Charger. Gary.
I got to go with the Charger on this one too. I like the older body styles.
Charger. X Adam One said Charger. Wood said Charger with the 440.
Which one's the
Uh,
Charger?
the Dukes of Hazards.
Okay, that makes it easier for me.
Uh, yeah, the 440 with the six pack was faster than the 426. Straight line, short, for like drag racing, but for like circle track racing, the 426 had a higher top end.
Was the Dukes of Hazzard a 68?
There was a bunch, whatever they could get because they were destroying so many.
Oh,
But the body style would have been pretty much the same. 68, 69. Yeah, I'm gonna go Charger.
Is it better that we lived through a number of decades of them destroying awesome cars for TV shows, or would it have been better to leave those cars not be destroyed?
I kind of wish they had left them alone, personally, because then there would be more out there.
Yeah, I can say it depends on who you talk to. The people that own 68 Dodge Chargers love it already. The ones that want one or are in the middle of restoring one hate it.
They're not easy to work on.
No, they can't find parts.
Oh, well, don't they
Well,
make
they
everything?
can't find original parts.
Okay.
Like there's plenty of aftermarket and stuff like that, but if you're trying to put together a true, original factory 68 Charger, finding those, like original trim pieces or things like that, super tough.
Yeah, when I used to go to the junkyards, and when I would find the covers for the interior light, the dome light, those were always hard to find. Anytime I find them at the junkyard, I'd steal them.
I wonder why they're hard to find.
So now we've got Gary said 68 would have been pre emissions control. Any car you want can be pre emissions control, as long as you don't have state inspections. So now we've got the 67 Plymouth GTX versus the 65 Barracuda. Barbecue.
Pretty sure nobody wrote a song about a GTX. We're going with a Barracuda here.
Barracuda. Dunk, 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 dunk. G-Webs.
I don't know what these are. There are movies involved.
Yeah, these would be tougher to pull what movies they're in.
I guess the GTX, I guess. What is it? 67 versus 65?
Yeah. It probably doesn't help. The Barracuda, 65 Barracuda is an A body. 67 Plymouth GTX is a B body, which is it's larger. Technically larger, but there's not a huge difference between the A body and B bodies.
Yeah, I don't know enough about them. I'm just guessing, throwing a dart at the board.
So you want 67?
Sure.
Okay. Boomstick is out there. So Gary, GTX, 67 GTX or 65 Barracuda?
I'm going to go with the Barracuda, although the song actually has nothing to do with a car. It's about a man, but that's okay.
I thought the song was about a fish.
No.
Gary likes songs about men.
What said Cuda? Well, I'm going to go GTX. I like the looks better of the GTX. So let me get a poll up here. We need the chat to vote on this one. Start a poll.
I can be influenced for sure if people want to help me vote.
So GTX or Barracuda. So the poll is out there. Everybody vote. X Adam 1 said GTX that your CUDA wasn't pretty. Yeah, the 67, 68 was kind of a more rounded. The 65, 66 look better. And then the 69 and 70 is when the most popular, when they turned to the CUDA.
Can you copy and paste that list of cars?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
When you go under the hood, how different are Ford? Like I know how different Ford and Chevy are. How different are Dodges? Are they the same or are they?
They're all the same. There's
A lot rustier, and the transmissions don't work.
that. I will give you that. Your transmission is going to burn out, and your wheel wells are going to rust. So we'll give it just a couple more seconds here. Barracuda is winning.
We had like mostly Chevys, but then some Fords in there.
Oh, let me go ahead and end the poll, and the Barracuda is going to move on. So now we've got the 1970 Dodge Challenger against the 71 Dodge Duster. Barbecue.
What year's the Challenger?
70.
Ooh, go with the Challenger.
Challenger.
What
Gee,
movies are these?
what was that?
What movies are these?
The Challenger was the Challenger in Vanishing Point. I think it was a Challenger in Vanishing Point.
I don't watch movies.
The Duster, I don't know what movies the Duster would have been in.
All right, well, they're saying Challenger, so Challenger.
Gary?
Are you sure that's a Dodge Duster?
Plymouth Duster?
Probably Plymouth, because Dodge's version was called the Demon, I believe, back then.
Yeah, I got him. That's why I had mentioned I almost bought a Dodge Demon. I think I had that on my mind.
I'm still gonna have to go with the Challenger here.
Challenger. Oh. Wood said Challenger. The goddamn bacon. So I like the Duster, but here comes the new Challenger. Except on one Challenger. Yeah, I'm gonna go Challenger. It looks a lot better than the Dusters. So now we've got the 79 Dodge Little Red Express against the 97 Prowler Barbecue.
Little Red Express.
Little Red Express. G-Webs. That's the pickup truck.
Yeah, not the truck, I guess. What's the other one?
The Prowler. The one you said would flip over with the bigger engine.
No, I don't know what that is. So that one.
Say the truck has exhaust stacks coming out behind the cab, a motor that was insane for what the truck was. It is a badass truck. Wood bed. Well, the floor of the bed's wood. Really, really sweet little truck.
Yeah, you showed a picture of it, but that's not my style of truck. It doesn't do nothing for me.
So Prowler. Gary.
I guess the truck. I'm not much for a step side, but it's okay.
Wood said Little Red. I'm gonna go Little Red Express. Can't go.
I agree.
Can't go against the stacks.
I agree with Gary. I am not much for a step side. I think the only thing that helps this truck with the step side is the fact that it has the stacks to draw away from that ugly fucking step side design.
I like step sides.
Oh, wow. Tell us about your other terrible life decisions.
Oh, there's been plenty. And there will be more. Boomstick said, when I started driving, Dad tried to give me his 67 Plymouth Belvedere. Only problem, it was a damn station wagon. Oh. I was going to be caught. I wasn't going to be caught dead driving a station wagon.
That'd have been so friggin' sweet.
I learned to drive with a '79 Malibu station wagon.
Nice.
My first car was a station wagon,
It had a 305.
shaggin' wagon. I tell you.
It was pretty peppy. It was surprising. So now the 70 Chrysler 300 Hearst against the 68, shouldn't be quotes, 68 Dodge Start GTS barbecue.
Hearst.
Hearst. G-Webs.
Do I know what these are?
The Hearst is kind of the big luxury, the boat with the big engine, and the Dodge Start GTS is the A-body. Mannix drove a Dart.
All right, I don't remember that, so I'll go with the larger one, I guess. Just make sure I'm never voting for that one with the fin. I'm not voting for that one ever.
Gary.
Dart.
Dart. What's a Dart? Oh, said he had a Scamp, a 283 maybe. That was the 289 equivalent for Dodge. X-Adam1 said Dart. I'm going to go Dodge Dart GTS. So this is again going to go out to the chat. I had a Dart and I liked my Dart. Start poll. I got pulled over in my Dart on Pacific Highway one night. I used to work graveyard at a shipping company. So I'll just say Hearst versus Dart. So the poll.
I got a question for people that have owned Dodges. Do you get pulled over by the police all the time because they assume you're a criminal?
Well, that's what there's a lot of crime along the Pack Highway. And I got pulled over and the cop comes up and give him my license and registration, but I didn't have insurance, and Washington is mandatory insurance. He didn't ask for it at first. And he saw my parking sticker for school and he goes, "Are you going to school?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to school over." I was going to ITT Technical at the time. And, told him I live over on where I was living. And then he asked for insurance and I said, "I don't have it." And he goes, "Why not?" I said, "I can't afford it." And he stepped back, looked at my car, and it was kind of a rust bucket. He looked at it from the nose to the tail, handed me my license back, and he goes, "You should at least get liability and let me go." And then I switched to driving my satellite, which also didn't have insurance. But
Then you'll say, "You'll never catch me again, copper," and then just peeled out.
I feel like if
One
you
rock all over his car.
if you pop wheelies all the time, then the cops will be so impressed that they won't pull you over.
well, I did get pulled over in the Plymouth not too long after that. But luckily, the cop pulled me over. I gave him my license. He went back to his car, and we were near a stoplight. And there was a car going down the road. This was also on Pacific Highway. And the light turned red, and the car locked up his brakes so he didn't run the light in front of the cop. The cop comes running up, gives me my license, and then went and pulled that guy over. Wood said Pack Highway is terrible from 1980-ish until now. And his Scamp was not tree proof.
What's PAC?
That's Pacific Highway. It runs from Washington all the way down to California.
Is that one?
One what?
Isn't that the name of that road? One?
I don't know. have just always known it as Pacific Highway.
I gotta go find the thing with a map.
It might be.
Maybe it's 10. No, 10 is going the other way.
Yeah, one will be up and down.
Yeah, the article I found says it is part of California's Highway 1.
Okay. I just didn't know if it went into. It must go into Washington then. You
Says
also
now largely part of US 99. So
anyway.
So I ended the poll, and the Dart is going to move on.
But 5 is the one that goes from Oregon to Seattle.
Yeah, it goes all the way up to the border.
And then that other one was on the coast.
So now we've got the 1970 Plymouth Cuda against the 69 Roadrunner barbecue.
What year, Cuda?
70.
Oh. What year's the Roadrunner?
69.
Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with Cuda.
Cuda. G-Webs. The Plymouth Cuda, that's the Nash Bridges, his car style, but he had the convertible.
I don't know who that is. I'm not voting for one with the spoiler on it here. I guess a Roadrunner. I don't know what that is.
Roadrunner.
That's not a fish. I'd rather vote for a bird than a fish, I guess.
Gary?
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. X Adam 1 said Roadrunner, and the horn. Yeah, the horn went meep, meep. Wood said Roadrunner.
Did it really have a horn like the Roadrunner?
Yeah.
Yep, sure did.
That's what the
Factory.
decal was the Roadrunner from the cartoon.
Is that something they just did, or they like have licensing back then?
I would think they did licensing. I think I'm gonna go Roadrunner. I used to get the old car price guide, which was, I can't remember if it was quarterly or monthly, but the 71, I think it was a 71 convertible Cuda, was the only car in that price guide listed as unestimatable. That's how valuable they were.
I believe it.
So now we've got the 62 Super Fury against the 68 Dodge Super Bee. And the Super Fury barbecue could be considered the first muscle car. It had the 413 wedge, but there was only just shy of 300 made, and Plymouth said they would only use it for racing. And the GTO made thousands and was released to the public. So that they're considered the first muscle car. But that's why the Super Fury's on here.
Okay.
So
I'm going with Super Fury.
Super Fury. G-Webs.
I don't know what these are.
The Super Fury was the black, kind of shiny, old one. And the Super Bee is a Coronet, which you probably still don't know what that is.
No. I'll go with whichever one is older.
Super Fury. Gizzard.
I'm gonna go with the Super Bee.
Super Bee. Yeah, the Super Bee had their decal was a bee with a helmet and goggles and the little spinny dust feet. Woodson Super B. Boomstick. Back in the day, I had a chance to buy a 68 or 69 Charger in A1 condition for $500. Only problem is I didn't have $500. That's a shame. Oh, I meant to mention the Little Red Express. I believe it was the Little Red Express. In 79 was faster than the 79 Corvette.
Wow.
Yeah, those things were absolutely nuts.
I think I'm going to go Super B, so we're going to have to go to the chat again here. Let me get the poll up here.
But when did Corvettes really go from being just a kind of a luxury car that was more of a status symbol to really being the
Fastest car in
speed
the road.
demons
Well,
that they?
they've always been kind of the sports car.
Well, I know they're always sporty.
There's
I
being
don't know.
sporty, like
In the
being,
early years, it seemed like they were more of a leisure drive still. Kind of blended the lines between the two. And I'm just trying to think. What was it? The Stingray where they really started to lean into, you know, the sport side of it more.
would you rather have the old 50s style, the Stingray, or the modern style?
Stingrays are absolutely awesome. I'd probably go with the Stingray. But like the newest Corvette that came out, it
Engine.
it's supposed to just be absolutely stupid with the horsepower and top speed that it has. And honestly, I am kind of a fan of the body style that they give it. It's very, very aggressive.
I don't know. There's a couple in town, and there's kind of across the street. There's a guy that owns one. I don't know. It's just to me it it's not a Corvette. It's just a European mid engine sports car. I understand. You know, it's not ugly. I don't think it's ugly. It's just to me, it's when I look at it, I don't think Corvette.
When I was a little kid, we had a 2-car garage, and we rented half the garage to this guy who had a Corvette, and he'd leave it in the garage. So it was 79, a yellow one. So obviously that imprinted on me. I really like that 79 Corvette, and I got
But
to play
I
with it
would say
often.
that the Corvettes have always been about what the first ones, maybe not quite performance, but the no cars were. They've always been muscle cars. It's just when they hit the 70s and emissions, then they got
I think
newer.
for a while they were trying to just look pretty, though. I don't know if they were successful at being a muscle car, but I know that I don't know if they cared about being a muscle car. They just wanted to be like the Chevy performance car.
When you get into the like the Stingrays and the big blocks in them, then they get kind of crazy. So let me go ahead and end the poll, and the Super B has won 67%.
They should have pictures on these things so you can see what they are.
I like how we had two completely different cars on the poll, and we just talked about Corvettes the whole time. The audience just has been like, "What is going on here? It's not even a Mopar."
No, they immediately
Uh,
flipped to a Corvette conversation.
so now we've got the 70 Superbird against the 68 Plymouth GTX. The Superbird I put on here rather than the Daytona because Petty drove the Superbird. So barbecue.
Superbird, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word.
Was that yellow
G-Webs.
one with the wing?
Yeah.
Not that one.
So GTX. Gary.
GTX.
GTX. Woods shouted Superbird. Yeah, it was the. I can't remember if it was the Superbird or the Daytona. They're the same car, just different brand. Um, but help kill. The help bring in the emission laws is they used one. It was the only car fast enough to chase the jets that were taking off, and they'd follow behind the jet taking emission samples. And that was kind of the start of the emission controls and stuff. The goddamn bacon said, for real, the C4 edition to me, even the third gen was more of a beloved there than a performance car.
Boulevardier.
Boulevardier.
Boulevardier. It's
Adam
Boulevard.
Munson
Boulevard.
GTX.
Barrier.
Where was I? Oh, I think I was voting. Yeah, I'm going GTX. I like the idea of the Superbird, but I don't like the wing.
I don't like the front end either, and I don't like the color, and I don't like.
Well, I read an article that they were putting them together so fast that they were doing just a shit job, and they would see how fast they could do them.
I mean, all that might be true, but you can't vote against the king, Richard Petty.
That I know I didn't want to, but Boomstick said, in my day, Plymouth Dusters and Darts were kind of considered grandma cars. They weren't so cool. Most either had a 225 slant 6 or 318, but you could rarely find them with a 360. The 318s were great motors. And the 225 slant 6s were also, it was a torquey little 6. I've had both. I liked both. And you could put 360 heads on a 318. So now we've got the 68 Dodge Charger against the 65 Barracuda barbecue.
Even though 68 Dodge Charger was a great pick, I still don't feel like it should have beat out the Viper. Viper has to be the most unique body style on this list, and it was eliminated in the first round. Totally unfair. Charger's overrated, but in this case, I'm still going with the Charger.
Charger. G-Webs.
Do I know what these are?
Charger is Dukes of Hazzard, and Barracuda is the small, rounded back one.
Well, the Viper lost because it looks like somebody chewed up some bubble gum and spit it out. And I guess I'll go with the Charger also, I guess. But I don't know.
Charger. Gizzard.
Charger.
And when I worked in Eastern Washington at a grocery store, there was a regular customer, a grandma. She drove a root beer colored 68 Charger. Kind of the little old lady from Pasadena kind of thing.
Then she'd jump over the hood, not open the door, and jump in the window.
But I'm going to go Dodge Charger. So now we've got the Challenger, the 1970 Dodge Challenger against the 79 Little Red Express. And that's what started the Corvette talk. Barbecue.
Pretty sure nobody made a song called the Challenger or whatever, but they did make a song called Little Red Express. Might have been Little Red Corvette, but Little Red Express works too. So we're going with that.
Little Red Express. G-Webs.
Oh, is that my smoke alarm? I've got like 8 smoke alarms sitting here, so there's probably one chirping. They didn't name a space shuttle after that truck, so I'll go with the space shuttle.
Challenger. Well, yeah, I won't. I was gonna make a joke about blowing up, but I won't. Oh, Gary.
Challenger, go with throttle up.
What?
Challenger.
What does that mean?
That was the command that Mission Control spoke to the Challenger right before it blew up.
Oh, yikes.
Wood said Challenger. X Adam 1 said Challenger.
That was a song or something.
Goddamn Bacon said Challenger.
El Camino's a muscle car, though, not that thing.
Eh, eh. Oh, I'm going with the Little Red Express. So we're gonna have to go to the chat again.
This is a big setup.
Let me get the poll going.
You can tell who gets paid every time he goes sets up a pole over there.
I get paid by big polls.
In the pocket of big poles.
Um,
Ka-ching. That's what YouTube is thinking. So I found that movie Vanishing Point 1971 on the Internet Archive, and I've stuck it into your Discord. So anybody wants to watch it for free, can watch that movie for free.
Challenger or
It says it's a cult favorite. Some guy gets a car to drive from Boston to California or something, and he takes a bunch of uppers and drives across the country.
well, it's probably popular too because there's a naked chick.
Oh,
So
and then
the
what
poll
car
is
was
up.
that for? Vanishing Point?
Challenger. Pretty sure it was a Challenger.
Oh, the one that we're voting on right now.
Yeah. X Adam 1 said at the end of some sheriff with the same car goes after him, if I recall correctly, in that movie. Been a long time since I've seen it. Oh, Challenger is ahead. So we'll give it just a little bit here so everybody can vote who wants to vote.
Clearly, all these people shoot 9mm and hated getting laid in the back of a truck.
Well, it is a thing, but not in that truck. Not with a chick, at least.
Why not? It's step side. It's easier for them to get in.
No, I just had my problem with the step side is you don't get as much bed. Like I need that extra bed for the loads I'm carrying.
Oh, fat chicks. I got you.
I'm doing work back there. I just don't want to be driving around half the bed. It's like taking a foot off of each side.
Yeah, but that truck was purely to get trim.
No, I don't like them that stick the pipes up in the air. I don't get that.
I think that's what you old people called it back in the day, trim.
That was older than me.
So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and the Challenger won. So the Challenger is going to move on. Now we've got the 68 Dodge Dart GTS against the 69 Roadrunner. Barbecue.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. G-Webs.
See, what should happen is every time there's one of these new combos comes up or the new challenge, like 2 animated cars should race up to this like starting line or something so that I know what they are. I don't know what these are. So do I know what these are? What movies these are from?
I don't know.
I have like zero recollection for cars, so I have no idea. I'm going to go with the Dodge Dart because he didn't vote for it.
Dodge Dart. Gary.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. X Adam 1 said Roadrunner. Ron Wayne is out there. He said beep beep, Roadrunner. Woods is saying the final is going to be Challenger Charger.
Most likely.
Next Adam 1 said my friend's Roadrunner ran low 12s, like 12.1 in the quarter mile. But I'm going to go Dart because I had a Dart. I had that 69 Dart. So, once again, we're going to have to rely on the chat to break this tie.
So I seen the thing that was saying that this whole government shutdown was orchestrated so that they can cut off all the services that go off from the government, like food stamps and junk like that, so that people start getting hungry and start rioting in the streets. So then they can pull out the what do they call that? Martial law. So is this all orchestrated to create martial law?
I don't think so.
Well, with the reason that they give for that, being that Trump doesn't want to relinquish power, doesn't make a lot of sense, since Republicans are overwhelmingly voting to reopen the government while the Democrats are overwhelmingly voting to keep it closed. Last vote that I saw, there was one Republican who voted against opening the government, and there were only 2 Democrats that voted for opening the government. So,
Like all lockstep by party.
mm-hmm.
The Roadrunner is winning. We'll give it just a little bit here. Make sure everybody that wants to vote can vote. I saw a story that with the SNAP benefits, that it's not cutting off all of the SNAP benefits. Supposedly, I haven't checked into it to make sure this is correct, but so if you're disabled or with children, then you'll still get your SNAP benefit. It's just kind of able-bodied people who can work won't get theirs.
I like
I thought they were already doing that before, anyways.
Like have done in the past, or were active?
No, I thought that was part of the. Oh, maybe that is supposed to go into effect in January. Yeah, because I thought that was part of the big beautiful bill. Because that was one of the points of contention. People were talking about how people who are elderly and retired would lose benefits, and I'm like, no, it doesn't say that at all. It's just saying able-bodied people.
No, you're right. That was definitely one of the points about that bill when it was going through.
So the Roadrunner won. It was closer than I thought. 55 for the Roadrunner, 45% for the Dart.
That actually is closer than I thought it would have been.
So 68 Super B against the 68 GTX barbecue.
Super B.
Super B. G-Webs.
Guess what? I don't know what these are. So the one with the fin is gone already. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. They're very similar looking cars.
Really?
The rear quarter panels are different.
Does one of them have a stripe on it?
Super B does.
All right, I'll go with that one then. That's the one thing I'll give the Mopers is they went with the stripes. There's very few. There's some Chevys with stripes, I guess. Maybe one Ford.
Yeah, they've got the stripe that goes around the back end rather than lengthwise.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I like the one that goes like in front of down the, is it like the Mach 5 where it goes down like in front of the driver on the hood and then past the driver and then onto the.
Oh, like the Mustangs?
I don't know which ones they are. I don't know enough about cars, but yeah, I like that kind of stripe usually. But I can also dig other stripes. We need more stripes on cars, I think.
Gary, Super B or GTX?
Super B.
Super B. Yeah, I'm gonna go GTX, but Super B is gonna move. So now we've got the 68 Dodge Charger against the 70 Dodge Challenger. Barbecue.
Charger. I always viewed the Challenger as like the wannabe Charger.
Well, it's kind of a wannabe CUDA.
True.
G-Webs.
I'm afraid of everything tipping over if I vote with barbecue, so to keep it even, so we don't flip over, I'll go with the other car that I don't know what they are.
Challenger. Gary.
Charger.
Charger.
See, we would have definitely flipped over if I voted that way.
So I think I'm gonna go Charger. I like the Challenger, but the CUDA is better, and I like the Charger. I
Plus,
know
it
that didn't
sounds
make
like
any
if
sense.
your phone is going low, you can charge it right away.
So now the 69 Roadrunner against the 68 Super B. XM1 headset Charger. Barbecue. Roadrunner or Super B?
These ones are so similar. Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. G-Webs.
Well, I feel like a bird would eat that bee. The bee ain't going to be able to do shit, so bird.
Roadrunner. Gary.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. And I'm going to agree. Roadrunner.
Does that bee's horn, is it fancy? Does any of their other horns fancy?
I don't believe so. So now we've got the 68 Dodge Charger against the 69 Roadrunner.
What's a Roadrunner look like? 69 Roadrunner. I got to tape it in here.
Looks like a Belvedere.
I'll take this orange one with the racing stripes.
Well, I'm not looking at what you're looking at, so I don't know.
Well, whatever. You know what the car looks like. Imagine an orange one with black racing stripes. I guess they all had the same stripes because there's like a.
Oh, you mean Roadrunner?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know you were talking about the Roadrunner. You just said orange car, racing stripes.
Well, everybody knows what that other one is. That other one is the Dukes of Hazzard, right?
That's the thing that'll happen when you have kids, is when they're talking on the phone, they'll hold the phone up to what they're looking at so the person they're talking to can see it.
But without using the camera.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, I can't see what you're looking at. So one for Roadrunner. Did you vote barbecue?
Nope. I got skipped. I'm going with the Roadrunner just to simply vote against the Charger because, like I said, I think it's mildly overrated.
Gary.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner.
Holy shit. This might be the upset of the night.
X Adam 1 said Charger. Woods said Charger. Oh. This is tough. I mean, the Roadrunner is built off the Belvederes, and I had a Belvedere, and I loved that car.
Christine was a Belvedere.
Christine was not a Belvedere. It was a Chrysler 300.
What?
When I had my Belvedere, I told my girlfriend at the time I would sell her before I sold that car. But a root beard color Dodge Charger is a thing of beauty. Ooh, this is very tough. Christina was Gary saying, Christina was a 68 Plymouth Fury.
That's what the
Now
internet
I'm
says.
super confused. I could have swore she was a Belvedere.
No.
Son of a.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go Roadrunner. No, I'm going to go Dodge Charger. That root beer Dodge Charger. God, I love that color on that car. But the Roadrunner is going to win. So the Roadrunner is the best Mopar. Well, it's the best classic Mopar. Ron Wayne said it's always interesting to see what you decide on. With the internet, its context is tough. So is it, it's interesting to see what you all decided on, or is it, it's interesting to see what you all decide on?
Whoa, what happened?
Oh, I thought I got disconnected.
I think Foss got disconnected.
He's taken down for this bullshit poll.
Oh, I guess we're in charge now.
YouTube has standards. That's weird. Can you all hear us?
All right.
Okay.
He's back. He's
Oh,
back.
he booted barbecue out of spite.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know when it cut me off. I was just commenting on Woods, just trying to show Woods. It said fail, and the chat failed.
What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Weird.
I clicked on Woods' comment and was saying fail, and the chat disappeared. So I think we're back. So, Mr. Barbecue, is there anything you got coming up? What you want to let everybody know about?
Probably a show on Thursday. I think we're experiencing the Mandela effect with Christine. Anything else I have coming up? Nope, that's it. Thanks for the invite.
Minnie Wayne is out there. A Gizzard, how about you?
Oh, let's see. I've got Foul Territory Monday night at 9 o'clock p.m. That would be Central Standard Time now. So make sure to get your clock set for the correct time. We'll see you Monday night. Thanks for having me.
And Wednesday, if you're a member, there's a members chat.
That's correct. That's correct.
So become a member. Join the cult of Cluck. And
That's right. All the cool
hang-
kids are members.
even some uncool kids. You don't have to be cool to join, but it makes you cooler.
No, it helps. Yeah.
Wood said Warlock. There was a Dodge Warlock, the black Little Red Express. You know, the black version was Warlock. G-Webs, anything you want to let everybody know about?
No, thanks for hosting.
Next chat will be next Saturday. Should have a video coming out Monday on something. I don't remember. I scheduled out videos for a couple weeks. I don't remember exactly what it is. It might be the Husqvarna rifle. Just a look at Husqvarna at the Thunder on the Prairie. Might be the 22-250. I don't remember which caliber it was. Yeah, the owner of Thunder on the Nebraska Shooters, where Thunder on the Prairie happens. He's got like 6 Husqvarna rifles he bought from an old guy. They are very sweet rifles, super smooth. The trigger pull, you don't feel the trigger pull; it just breaks. And somehow they're affordable. They're like $650 on Gunbroker.
Oh yeah, tomorrow's Every Second Matters. Thanks.
Every Second Matters is tomorrow. Oh, for some of you today. Why? For me, it's today. So happy Every Second Matters, everybody. Might have put out another video on Wednesday. Need to finish. I've edited part of it and decided to add more to it. So might come out Wednesday. I think other than that, hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good.